In today's market, competing on price alone is a race to the bottom. Customers crave experiences that make them feel valued and delighted. Well, let's have ourselves a pocket sized pep talk because if you can deliver that, you not only stand out from the competition, but also create a loyal fan base that keeps coming back and brings their friends. Worth listening to? You betcha.
A Pocket Sized Pep Talk, the podcast that can help energize your business and your life with a quick, inspiring message. Now, here's your host, Rob Jollis.
Today's guest, Vance Morris, helps business owners get, serve, and keep clients for life through creating experiences and response-required marketing. He's a former birth control factory security guard, turned Disney leader, turned bankrupt out of work executive, turned carpet cleaner, turned successful entrepreneur, turned author of the book Systematic Magic. Outwork, outprice, and outmarket your competition in any economy. Happy to have you with us and welcome to the show, Vance.
Rob, thank you so much, man. This will be fun. Looking forward to it.
You bet. We're going to have some fun. Pleasure to have you here. And I want to start with that bio of yours. You mentioned response required marketing. Now, I know what that means because I believe I've got it right because I remember when I was 21 at New York Life, we were sending out mass mailings with ways to find your life and figure out your life and find your way to the future with flashlights and atlases that we would deliver. I'm assuming that's response required marketing, but clean that up for me. Do I have it right? And can you give me an example that might be a little more current?
Yeah, well, for me, for small businesses, it's really the only kind of marketing they should be doing. And I'll give you the opposite real quick, which would be Goodyear blimp style marketing. Goodyear throws the blimp over top of a stadium, says Goodyear on it, and then the blimp flies away, and they just, thousands of people saw the blimp. Now, I can tell you Goodyear has got no idea how many tires were sold because people saw the blimp. Small businesses can't afford that. We need to know where every one of our sales is coming from. So response required is if I send out $1, that dollar has got to come back with a whole bunch of his little dollar buddy friends. So my ads have to elicit a response. So I will send out an ad that says, let's say for my carpet cleaning business, say they're not ready for carpet cleaning. It's okay. So please request my free report, 7 costly misconceptions about carpet cleaners. Well, how many carpet cleaners have one of those? Not too many. And it's not salesy. There's no pressure. I'm just giving out information. So it's a trade-off of, give me your email address. I'll send you some information. And then I can continue to do that. Because, getting their contact information is really, that's the gold. Now I can continue to drip on them. Maybe they're not ready right now to have something cleaned. Maybe they chose a competitor and they weren't happy and they're coming back and now they're looking, okay, who should we get next? But yeah, response required means that we are expecting them to do something, not necessarily always purchase, but do something when they have that ad in front of them.
Do you deliver these items that you're talking about, or is it all electronic? You just sort of swapping electronically?
Sometimes it can be a digital asset like a PDF or something. Actually, in my carpet cleaning business, I wrote 3 books just for the carpet cleaning business. The Pet Owner's Guide to Carpet Cleaning. And we actually, it's a book. People write in and say, we'd love it. We send it out.
Well, you know what I like that you got going there, Vance? I talk to a lot of people who struggle with follow-up as an example, and they say, I want to follow up. I want to follow up. To just follow up is wasting people's time. But obviously, I may have sent something out to you. I haven't heard from you. But to follow up with some sort of value, something that I can offer, so I have a reason to engage in the conversation, whether we do business or not, at least I'm not wasting your time.
Oh, exactly. And that's because you don't know when they're going to be ready to buy. As business owners, we're always ready to sell. but you don't know when the customer is going to be ready to pull the trigger, pull money out of their wallet, and ready to give it to you. So we have to continue the conversation. And maybe it's weekly, maybe it's monthly, maybe it's daily, who knows, depends on what you sell. And we want to make sure that we constantly stay top of mind. And it's not always with, banging them with a discount, banging them with a sale, constantly bombarding them. It's delivering value. And whether that's through a book, through a white paper, through a PDF, maybe you want to entertain them with something about, something. I do a newsletter for my carpet cleaning clients, and one of the most favorite sections of the newsletter is stupid criminal stories. And people love it. And I took it out. I think I was just bored with it. I took it out one year and I just put like a recipe in there. The phone was ringing off the stinking hook because I took that thing out of there, and they're like, no, 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 we don't want a recipe. We want to read stupid criminal stories. So evidently I touched a nerve.
Well, that's an example. I was just interviewed the other day about, evolving. If you had told me that story and said, "What do you think? I'm thinking of trying this," I probably would have gone, I don't know. But that's the difference between thinking about something and constantly trying to evolve and saying, the idea didn't work, but it did bring me to this idea, or it did work. But I think we talk ourselves out of stuff. And I would have talked myself out of that idea you just threw out there until I hear it works, then I'm not
Right.
talking anymore.
And the other thing, one of the marketing tactics I use in my home service business, actually I use it in my consulting too, is the reason that you need to show up for your customers. So I use what's called candy bowl marketing. So we have a number, so for, like say for my mold remediation company, we get a lot of referrals from plumbers, home inspectors, people that are crawling around houses. So I've got a marketing person, and she goes to these offices and literally just puts a candy bowl in the waiting room. Some of our brochures are stuck in it, and she goes up to the front desk person and says, "Hey, would you mind if I just left this candy bowl here, for your guys, or either your customers, like if it's a realtor, or your guys if they're hungry, they can grab a Snickers bar out of the bowl, and then every so often I'll stop by and fill it up." So the candy bowl is our excuse for coming into the business every 7 to 10 days. Of course, we're refilling brochures, but we're starting to build a relationship with Marge, who's behind the front desk. And every time we're there, we refill the brochures, we refill the candy, we talk a little with Marge, and we build a little bit more rapport. Maybe we'll bring some pens and some notepads or whatever. And then, hey, maybe 3 or 4 weeks into it, we'll say, "Hey, who's the manager? I'd really love to meet him." And now that we've got a relationship with Marge, she's like, "Oh my God, you got to, here's the gal who's been bringing me the candy for the last month. You got to meet her, come in here." And that candy just became the reason we came in. I don't know if the candy's a value, but we were giving, giving, giving. We never asked for anything.
Right. It's
You know,
fascinating. Yeah. I feel comfortable telling you this. I think I was one of the last guys on this planet that was selling typewriters. But Xerox actually made some really good typewriters, much better than those IBM Selectrics and stuff. But didn't matter. IBM just dominated the market, and yet I hung on to them. And it's because I could leave them almost like that jar you're talking about, because there was always, well, we still need to do envelopes. We still need these little things. There was always a typewriter. I wasn't selling them 5 years ago. I'm talking about kind of mid 80s ish.
right,
PCs were bumping us around, but still needed a typewriter. I did it for that reason. I used to refer to it as my beachhead. I now
right.
have established a beachhead. Obviously, I want the $250,000 Docutech machine in the corner, but that's going to take a while. Now, like you said, now we're developing a relationship with the company. They're getting to know us. Who cares about the candy and the typewriter right now? You can't just walk in and sell product.
It's not the way it works.
No, not the
It's
way it
not,
works.
I preach this to my coaching and consulting people all the time. People do business with people, they don't do business with businesses. And whether if you're a business trying to do a bit business with businesses, B2B, you got a purchasing manager that you're going to have to sell to eventually. Well,
Right.
he's a guy, he's a guy or a gal. You got to talk to him. You've got to create the relationship with him. Is it going to go before a committee? Okay, great. Well, how do we, start? I don't want to say grease the wheels, but how do we start creating value for them before it's time to create a prospectus or create something that we're going to put in front of them? I mean, it's just
Yeah.
it always comes down to relationship.
Right. You're now sounding like a Disney guy again. I was waiting for
Yeah,
that.
yeah, I know.
It's I get little blue X's that keep coming out of me from Xerox. I think you got some mice that are coming out of you. But talk about Disney a little bit, how it shaped your approach to, well, as they would say, or you would say, creating this magical customer
Yeah. So,
experience. Hmm.
I was lucky that it was really my first job out of college. So I spent 10 years there. But one of the first things that I noticed when I was on the opening team of the Yacht and Beach Club Resort. And one of the first things I noticed, it wasn't how they created magical experiences. It wasn't guest service or how quickly they picked up trash off the ground or any of that stuff. It was that they had a process for everything. I mean, everything. You want to carry a tray in a restaurant, process. You want to change a bus tire, process. And I walked into this room when we were doing the opening, and this was before, tablets and stuff. This was in the 90s, so we didn't really all have PCs yet. And there's just stacks of binders everywhere. And I'm like, what Lord, what is all this? He goes, well, these are all of the OJTs and SOPs for all the different positions within the resort. And this is how we run a resort. And I was just floored by the amount of information that was out there. And I mean, just if you wanted to be a hostess at a restaurant in the resort, I mean, I kid you not, that SOP was 4 inches thick. And they weren't kidding. Now, the cool thing about it is that once you learned the SOP and you followed it, you were now on Disney's guardrail. You were in between, and you are now allowed to have your personality shine through. So doing your job became rote. I mean, it was just reaction. I mean, you just did it because you did it so many times, you know what you're going to do. Now you're allowed to do the little fun things for guests. You can fold the napkin in origami and make it look like Pluto. You can, refill a soda, without people asking. You can draw little stuff for kids. That's what a SOP or an OJT allows you. Standards allow you freedom to do all of the other stuff. And that is what I took to every single job and into my own businesses. Because like right now, I've mentioned I have 3 home service businesses that I still own. Well, I put systems into place in all those businesses. Right now, I've got a general manager that runs all those businesses. I spend about 90 minutes a week on those businesses. Cash checks, I kiss babies, and that's about it. Those systems gave me the freedom to do what I enjoyed the most, which is coaching and consulting with other small businesses.
Well, you're certainly talking to a guy who believes in process. You can't go through the Xerox experience without a process. But I mentioned it a few times, but I've always loved the saying: when you have a process, you have a way of measuring what you're doing, and when you can measure it, you can fix it. And too often, I know as a sales trainer, I'll come in and, okay, tell me what sales process we're following. Well, we read a little of this, we listened to a little of that. Sometimes we get together on Tuesdays. I mean, so we don't really have anything that's repeatable and predictable. And for guys like us, look, I'm a consultant. I'm trying to work with you, but I'm literally twitching from one eye of just how it almost hurts me to the core. It's just not the way I was taught. And, I started at New York Life. They didn't teach me a whole lot of processes, taught me to love
Right.
selling. But Xerox, Disney, some of the other companies I do some work with Toyota, some other big companies, they are so process driven. And oh, what a coincidence. When you walk in, wherever you are, you get a very similar experience. That's what people want,
Yeah.
Then we can
I mean,
sauce it up.
And that's how they create the magic. I mean, it is
Right.
repeatable, replicatable practice systems that creates the magic consistently throughout the day, week, or year.
Yeah.
So they know that if you follow the system, we know we're going to be able to create magical experiences.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, that's the number one reason people come back to Disney. Today, right now, 80% of the people at Disney have been there before. And the number one reason they go back is for the cast members, the employees,
Right.
not because it's clean or fancy rides or anything like that. They go back because of the people that work there. That's powerful.
Very powerful. How long ago did you work for Disney?
I left in 2000.
Okay. So it's 25 years ago. Yeah, I'm, 33 years since I've been at Xerox. And yet for both of us, it shapes you.
Yeah,
Uh, and I appreciate it so much that as a consultant, I actually don't know how to help a company if I'm not really teaching them some sort of process behavior. You want me to make you feel good today? And in the speaking world, we've got plenty of that. I think that's swell. My dad used to say, "This is my boy, the motivational speaker," and it used to bother me. I never tell him. He's introducing me to his friends, but it was exactly what I didn't want to be. I didn't want to be the motivational guy. I wanted to be the guy that left behind real processes that companies can implement. Because that's, I
yep,
think, also the power of Disney. And you tell me if I can see what you're doing in your businesses. You learn that, and then you stylize it and apply it to your business.
right.
That's
And that and
powerful.
that's the key thing, and I talk about Disneyfying, which is creating experiences out of the mundane. And I actually take business groups down to Disney for 3 and 4 day full immersion boot camps. So I mean, we go down. So I've taken groups of attorneys and home inspectors, and I mean everybody under the sun. And my job when I do those is to show you how to adapt what Disney is doing, unless perchance you own a theme park or a Cinderella castle, by the way, but how to adapt what Disney's doing and put it into, a legal business or a plumbing business, etc. Because you don't want to copy them, you want to adapt what they're doing.
Right.
And Disney has just figured out a way to create an experience out of all of the boring, mundane things that we have to do day in and day out to keep the business running, like answering the telephone.
Yeah.
You don't have to have the money. People always say, well, Disney's got all this money, or Apple's got all this money, Harley Davidson's got all this money. To create an experience, you don't have to spend any money. I
Right.
mean, just try being nice to people. I mean, that's a great start.
Yeah.
Answering the phone live. There's another great start. Nothing worse than, the phone tree and the press six for that. But just the way Disney answers the phone. So I worked with, real quick story, was working with a bunch of insurance guys down south. It was a Allstate commercial convention. And there was a ton of Allstate offices in this one region. And this one guy he was determined to stand out. He didn't want to be lumped in with everybody. And, if you call an insurance agency, they'll answer the phone, thank you for calling Dave's Allstate. How can I help you? We've all heard that version of the phone being answered. So we brainstormed a little with his team and found out he was a rock and roll fanatic. I went into his office and he had like gold records on the wall and autographed guitars hanging all around. And I'm like, well, this is pretty cool. And one of his team members said, I think we've got a nifty way to answer the phone. And I said, all right, say what it is. He goes, I think we should answer the phone this way. Thank you for calling Dave's Allstate, the agency that rocks. Now, talk about separating yourself from everybody else. You've now taken the personality of that agent, infused it into the business. They are definitely standing out, right? Your marketing is designed to do one of two things: attract the people you want to do business with, repel the people you don't want. And just by answering the phone that way, you're sifting, sorting, and screening out people that would just not be a good fit for your business. And the people that are coming in are like, oh, wow, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I want to go see the Jimi Hendrix autograph guitar in my local, insurance agency. And, some people will think that's hokey, fine. Maybe it's not your personality, but in a commoditized world, I'm sorry, we are all, excuse me, commoditized businesses. The only thing that's going to separate us is the experience that we deliver.
Yeah. Yeah. I used to refer to it as our sea of sameness. You know, we're all the same, or are we? And so I actually really appreciate that. Uh, you know, I think Disney and Xerox shared a couple of things. And one of them was when you experienced either company, you knew two things. One, whoever you bumped into was probably going to be pretty well trained. And two, whatever you were involved in was going to be premium priced. Okay. And yet companies struggle with that. So give me a couple of practical ways that businesses can justify that pricing. And I'm looking forward to this because I want to swap some ideas with you. But and I know you had some other experiences other than Disney. So did I. But like I said, 33 years ago with Xerox, I'm still bleeding blue X's. When you
Yeah,
learn process, this is actually it's an example of what we've been talking about. The reason why these companies stick in our heads is because we learn processes. And
right.
that's how, so give people that are premium price, and quite frankly, I don't know how to sell something that isn't premium price. It's for another conversation. What are some tips for companies that are experiencing that?
Well, I'll tell you, I mean, most pricing issues within a company are the owner's own head trash. I mean, it's mental for the owner. They're like, I can't do this. And I'm telling you right now, all your listeners, go out and raise your prices 10% right now. I guarantee you nobody's going to notice. No, nobody. I've done that. I've just arbitrarily across the board 10%. Nobody batted an eye. I'm sure you want some other tactics other than that, I'm guessing.
It's an interesting
um,
one.
well, so with you have to be in a certain marketplace. So uh, you know, you want to be in that middle income to affluent market for delivering experiences because people will pay premium pricing for experiences. And now you have to deliver. So doing a good job is just entry level into the market. I mean, that is just expected. So you can't say, oh, well, I did a good job. Why don't they remember me? Or I did a good job. Why can't I charge 3x my price? Well, it just doesn't work that way. So in order to start increasing your prices, you start to slowly but surely add to the experience. And as you add to the experience, you can take some of that money from the price increase and you take some of those shekels, you put them in your back pocket. And then you take some of the money and you reinvest it in the business so that you can create better and more experiences. So I'll give you a quick example. One of my clients he owned a string of service stations, kind of like a Jiffy Lube, Quick Lube kind of guy. And he was getting couponed to death. I mean, just beat up on price. Every time Jiffy Lube came out with a coupon, he had to come out with something that was, a nickel cheaper. And it was killing him. And so he hired me and I said, well, you prepared to go the other way. And he goes, what do you mean? I said, let's go high, because there is no strategic advantage to being second cheapest. None whatsoever. If you can't be cheapest, you might as well just go the other direction because there's no advantage to second cheapest. And he goes, sure. So we went completely the opposite direction. We turned him into a premium level service station. If you remember, like the old 1950s and 60s service stations where like four guys run out to your car and
Oh
one guy's
yeah, with
switching
the
the windshield and
white jumpsuits and all that stuff. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. We had them out there in bow ties, little gloves.
Not that I was around, by the way. I just saw pictures of it, but
Yeah,
okay.
no, I'm with you there.
Okay.
I did too. I don't think I've ever experienced that. Although I did have the guy check the oil a couple of times. But anyway, so the guys will walk you into the waiting room. There's not 3-day-old stale coffee in there. There's actually a barista in the waiting room waiting to make your favorite coffee. And then there was a whole bunch of other things that they were doing, but he is now like 45% higher than his closest competitor because of all of the things that he added. But here's what happened. One, his volume went down but he still had a long wait. So instead of servicing, let's just say for sake of argument, 100 cars a day, he's now serving 60 cars a day, but he's more profitable because he doesn't need that volume. His employees are really happy because they're not humping and pumping to try to get through 100 cars. There's less wear and tear on his equipment. So there's all these other ancillary things that are contributing to his profitability because he increased his prices. So yeah, premium pricing is where it's at. And I think that a lot of these things, you don't have to have a tangible item to raise your price. So I'll give you a quick example. Guarantees and warranties. So my carpet cleaning business, I guarantee you get the most thorough cleaning ever or your money back. Just it. If you call me up and say you're not happy, I'll say, look, we really want to make you happy. We would love to come out, touch up whatever spot you're not happy with. If you're still not happy, he'll be prepared to write you a check on the spot. Usually we don't have to do it. I can tell you in the 17 years I've had my carpet cleaning business, on one hand, I can tell you the number of times I've had to give money back.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
but that promise of the guarantee allows me to charge a higher price because I have that guarantee. I
Yeah.
also have warranties in place. Like I have a 5-day whoopsie insurance. So within 5 days of your cleaning, if your sloppy husband knocks over a glass of chocolate milk or the bowl of chili, we'll come back and we'll clean that spot up for free, no charge.
Right. Right. It's almost, Vance, it's almost like the that old Nordstrom story it's almost like an urban legend, although I actually know it isn't. But I don't know if you've heard of it. They would take back anything, and so
Yeah.
somebody brought back some tires,
Yeah.
and as the story goes, it took them a little while because they never sold tires, and they
Right.
took the tires back, and everyone who hears that goes, "Well, how could they do business that way?" The same reason you just said, because for every one person, knucklehead that brought back tires, 10,000 people went, well, at least I don't have to worry about bringing anything back. So the point made. If you want to hear the Paul Harvey rest of the story, if you don't know it, I actually bumped into somebody in Seattle once who said, oh, I worked at the place that before it was Nordstrom's. And she said it was a tire store.
Oh,
Okay.
geez.
But you know what? Now you know. Okay. Now you know
Yeah.
the rest of the story. It wasn't quite as crazy as it sounded. It was crazy because
Right.
they were used tires, by the way. They weren't brand new. But in fact, so now America knows, anybody listening knows that that actually was a tire store that converted over to Nordstrom's, thus the tires. But to your point, Nordstrom came from nowhere. Who heard of Nordstrom? And all of a
Right.
sudden, all we knew was, well, they're going to charge you more, but there's going to be feet on the floor. You can take it back. I still walk by some of I don't want to name any low end retail, but low end retailers where there's a line at the customer service and people are looking upset. And I'm thinking, oh, come on now. You rolled the dice. This
Yeah.
is, this is what happens to those who roll the dice. And one more thing, I'll get off of this, but we at Xerox used to say, well, and I was thinking how I would do it at Disney. We would always do what we call TCO, a total cost look, not just the price of the machine. So I was thinking if I was at Disney, a total cost would almost be the question to the client of, when you say we're charging $50 more than any other theme park, I'm not questioning that. I'm just asking you, are you talking about the cost of experiencing the theme park or entering the theme park? And most people go, well, entering it is 110.
Right.
Experience, it's a whole different thing. And I can tell you, as a guy who's got a 38, a 37, and a 32-year-old, I think back on those Disney trips, and there were three of them. Uh, and boy, I'm glad I didn't look for the cheapest way out for that type of life experience. It's sort of a shame when you see people who are miserable in the park because the line's long or whatever. You know what? You only have a few opportunities, but the opportunity to experience it's well worth it to me.
Yeah. And Disney knows what its product is.
Right.
right? They are selling happiness and they are selling memories. That's their product.
Yeah.
Okay. And us as small business folk need to know what our product is. So let's take the memories thing. I mean, when grandma's getting ready to die, right? The family all gets together. They drop grandma in a wheelchair. They wheel her all around Disney World, taking pictures with her so that everybody's got, great memories of grandma. They don't take her to, Six Flags or, the local county fair for pictures. They go to Disney, so that's what Disney is selling, and that's why people go there. I mean, Make-A-Wish, all the Make-A-Wish kids, they want to go to Disney. Oh yeah, I just won the Super Bowl. I'm going to Disney. Um, but as small business owners, we can do that too. So, I mentioned the carpet cleaning business. We have a mission that is bigger than our job, and ours is we create healthy homes. So like my guys can wrap their brains around that. It's not a mission statement because I think those are usually garbage, but a simple mission of we create healthy homes. We do it through cleaning, right? But we're here to make the home healthier. We're removing pollen and allergens and soot and crap. My guys get that. And, now they're taking a little bit more time. Now they are invested more in the job. They explain stuff to the customer that's like, look, if we clean this, you might want us to clean, your favorite chair because, dad's Grecian formula is making that spot on the back, and you probably want to get rid of that. So knowing what you're really selling is very powerful because then you can tune your marketing into selling that.
Okay. So I just kind of want to put a pin there. It's probably, listen, I've really enjoyed the conversation, but you just hit on something I think really might be the most important part of our conversation because it's the first domino that falls, Vance. And and it's astonishing. So I consult with a lot of Fortune 500 companies. How many of them really don't know what it is they're selling? Uh, you jumped me because I was already writing down. I'm going to double back and see if he knows what he's selling because I knew you weren't going to tell me. Oh, Rob, I sell carpet cleaning. That's like going to cars and say, oh, we sell cars that drive. Okay, well, good luck with that. Uh, you can't be everything to everybody.
Oh,
And so, but it's shocking how many companies, if you really push them hard. And I have to, because I have to know what I want the customer to want to sell your carpet cleaning. Okay. Now I know, by the way, all my questions have just became much clearer in my head. But if you just told me I got a carpet cleaning business and we use good soap or, our guys are nice. Which of your competitors saying, you got us there. Our guys are mean, but the soap's good. No, but, but you niched it. I wish more companies focus on this, folks. This can't be a secret from not only your company, but certainly the sales force. They have to know what they want the customer to want. I would say I'm going to make up a number, but I would say at least three-quarters of the time that I'm out with a company, they don't really know it. And if they think they know it, I'll bring in three people out of the hallway. Let's see if they get it right. They won't.
no, no. I mean, I've worked with orthodontists and, the numbers of them that, finally come down to that they're selling confidence,
Yeah.
because the teeth are getting straightened or they're selling self, I can't think of the word, especially with like teenagers and stuff. But it's just, you've got to nail that. You got to nail that.
You do. But the cool thing is once you tell me confidence for a dentist, I already know some of my questions are going to be talking about some of the activities that you're involved in. Who sees
Yep.
you? How often are
Yep.
you on that stage or in front of that camera? Now I know where I'm going with my questions. Other than that, I'm just talking. How many teeth do you have in your mouth? I mean, where are we going? Do you like a drill? No, most people not answer that question. So
Yep.
it's fascinating. And now we're leaving that sea of sameness at the same time. Really cool. All right, we're coming down the home stretch.
Yep.
Let's see. Give me an example of a small business that you've worked with that Well, you've taken a lot of these ideas and you were able to increase their profits. If you can use their name, fine. If not, that's okay. Just give us a general
Yeah,
area.
well, I mean, certainly the oil change one
Mhm.
was great. The one that I really enjoyed, this was a couple of years ago, was a dentist. She was, in the sea of sameness, to use your phrase. She had 8 other dentists in her building, not just in her town, but just
Wow.
in her building. She was one of those took insurance, co-pays, all that stuff, killing herself. She couldn't pay her student loans back from dental school. She was miserable. And I worked with a coach to orthodontists, and he recommended me. So I went and met with her, and we just did a little brainstorming session, and found out that Peter Pan was her favorite movie. And I said, okay, let's take that a little further. How do you think, how would you feel about embracing that? So I don't know. I said, well, what demographic do you like working with? Well, I love working with the kids. Okay. Well, let's rebrand you as a pediatric dentist. Get rid of all the adults. You don't like them anyway. And we'll make you the pirate dentist.
Hmm.
So fast forward a little bit. She dresses up like Captain Hook. All of her cleaning technicians are, Mr. Smees running all around. She has put a shipwreck in the front of her waiting room. It's like a little jungle gym for kids to play. She has stopped taking insurance. By doing that, she's now obviously all cash pay, which also eliminated 2.5 positions out of her practice, because that's all they did was insurance billing. So she saved like $150,000 a year in salaries just by going to cash. Obviously, she raised her prices extensively. She's got a wait list. She's been able to hire 2 dentists and expand the practice. And all by just, again, embracing something that was true to her. And she comes and goes as she pleases. The 2 other docs in the office, if she wants to take work on Wednesdays and that's it, that's all she works. And smartly, she documented all of these systems that she put in place. So, the dentists know that they are going to be dressed as Captain Hook, and they know that they're going to walk around the office saying "arg," because that is what that office is about.
It's amazing. I've always said the easiest way to sell something is to believe in it, and I know that's trite, but you've got them in an area where it's certainly, I don't know about the other dentists, but for her, this isn't a hard ask right now. And I want to pay you a compliment. I came up with this one time on a red eye. I don't know whether I had slept, I was awake, I was in that quasi, I don't know what time it is, but I've just discovered the definition of wisdom. And I've always believed, I wrote it down, and a lot of times you write these things down, look at them in the morning, you go, well, that's why we're not at our best at 3 in the morning, apparently. But I've stuck with it. And I've always thought that wisdom consists of really 3 things: success, failure, and a conscious knowledge of the lessons learned from each. And your background of up and down, and clearly you were taking notes. When it was working, you figured with Disney, you worked that out. When it wasn't working, you worked that out. I think that's what makes you such a powerful author and consultant. If all you've had is success, look, I want to shake your hand. Good for you. I'm not necessarily calling you wise, but I wouldn't mind swapping places with you. And if all you've had is failure, my heart goes out to you. But again, I can't lean on you for wisdom. I need that mix. I think we all actually go through not quite as extensive. We all have a mix. I wish people would understand there's value going up and coming down. There's always value if you take a moment to figure out what the lesson is here, right?
You have to. You
You're a
have
guy
to.
who's done that clearly. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. How do people get a hold of you?
Yeah, best thing is the website, which is deliverservicenow.com. You can actually don't give Bezos any more money. Don't get the book on Amazon. Just go to my website and you can get a free copy of it.
Oh, good. You sign them?
As a matter of fact, I do.
Good. Well, people should
You
always
want an
want a
autographed
signed book.
copy?
Yeah,
Just pay.
good.
You just have to pay shipping and handling, but it's still cheaper than Amazon.
There you go. There you go. Well, good for you. Well, again, absolute pleasure. We'll put up the contact information. I just want to thank you for coming in and talking. And I'm sitting here smiling because I get different guests, but I'm saying this to you in a very positive way. You're what I refer to as a grizzled vet. You've been there, you've done it, and it's coming out in the conversation. So please take that as a compliment.
I will do that. Thanks. I appreciate it, Rob.
You bet. All right. Well, we'll do it again as well as we can next time, everybody. Until then, stay safe.
Thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed today's show, please rate and recommend it on iTunes, Outcast, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can also get more information on this show and Rob at jollis.com.